Good evening and welcome back to another episode of In the Live Checkup with Dr. Asante Leblanc. I'm JD, and together we gain information and also just really chat about some very important conversations pertaining to health and wellness. And who else can I do it with? I've been doing it with her for the past year and a half. And yes, I still got changes to make, and I still get buff, as we say, Trini style, from her. But nevertheless, we continue the conversations because it's very important to have those in studio with me. And I know I said in studio, but it is sort of like virtual studio. I've got Dr. Asante Leblanc. And as always, she's going to start it off, but just letting you know a little bit about, herself, as of course, what we can find out about Victoria Clinic. That is exactly where she's based right now, doing this with you. And we'll dive straight inside of today's conversation. Good evening to you, Dr. Leblanc.
Good evening, JD. Good evening to everyone.
How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I think I'm trying to deal with the whole phased life or living of COVID.
Yes.
And it's a challenge at times, but I'm good. And hence the buff, because our schedules. But I was actually not well this week, hence the late recording. But I'm okay.
No, that's okay. You're human too, so I guess you can ill sometimes. But the good thing is, you know your doctor, so.
Physician, heal thyself. But hello, everyone. I am Dr. Asante Leblanc, owner and medical director of Victoria Clinic in Trinidad and Tobago, your home for holistic health care in Trinidad and Tobago. I am a general practitioner, and then also I call myself, I don't call myself, I am an integrative healthcare practitioner, which means I am a general doctor and I integrate the Eastern branch of medicine into my practice, which consists of acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, cupping, and medical herbalism.
Right.
I'm also a certified clinical densitometrist, so I diagnose and manage and treat patients with osteoporosis. And I really, when I started Victoria Clinic, much to the prodding, or thanks to the prodding of my husband, it really was so that this becomes a haven and a home for holistic healthcare, which takes you along that journey to gain that optimum health that we all seek.
Yes.
But rather than me as a physician saying, here's a pill, do this, do that, you can't get better, exploring the options and seeing how best we can work together to really achieve that within your own context where you're comfortable and also will be healthy.
And you've been doing this. This is what I always want to know. How long have you been operating Victoria Clinic? Because I've known you for a bit, but I can't remember how long.
Victoria Clinic is 10 years this year.
10 years. So
yeah,
10 years.
It's 10 years this year, but I'm a doctor now for 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
And we tend to know a lot of people in the same circles. I'll tell you about that off this conversation. Because just yesterday, your name came up in a conversation with an accountant. So it's a small circle. Everybody know? Yeah, it's a small circle.
I hope that was a good conversation.
It was. It's like, it was. It's just like, I know a whole heap of Guyanese. Yeah, if you get what I'm saying.
I'm proud to be Guyanese.
Yes, but
I say to my Guyanese brethren, sisterin, that no matter what, this is a trying time for us all, both in Guyana and out of Guyana. But I think one thing that I know this is about health, but I must say to my Guyanese people, and I'm glad for you to give me this opportunity, that we can't lose hope. And, as I say, we have to heal and we need to rebuild our country, and we have to understand that we are one no matter what, and it is one people, one nation, one destiny. And that we cannot allow for external interference in our policies. I'm not a politician. I am from a political family, but I do strongly believe that as Guyanese, we need to put our foot down, as we've always done over centuries and over the years, and regain, rebuild, and heal, and let us just be one. We have to shut out the noise now and just move on and rebuild our country. I'm very, very, and I think this has impacted on Guyanese in terms of mental health. In terms of the stresses and yes, but I think it's now time for us to just, take charge and take that control back of our nation.
When was the election? Well, when was the election? Because this is a long period you're talking about.
It was March 2nd, and so there's been a lot of controversy. And so, yes, it's been a difficult time. But you know what? This is just the forum to say don't give up hope, that we can make it as Guyanese and as a beautiful country. And no matter whether we are there or not there now, we are all one and we're all together, and no matter what. And so, you know, the racial divide, the economic divide, and we need to heal, and we need to get over that as a people, and understand what Guyanese have contributed to the Caribbean community, CARICOM, to the Commonwealth, and not forget our history, not forget who our forefathers were, and thank them for everything they've done, and show them and make them proud. I really am a strong believer of that.
You sure you're not a politician?
Sure? I'm very sure.
Well, we gotta say good evening to persons like Dean, to Paula as well, another Guyanese. I know Sonia's another Guyanese as well. I have some cousins.
Sonia's not a Guyanese. Sonia's married to Dean.
No, not that Sonia. Another.
Oh, Sonia. The other. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, Dean, don't kill me.
Good evening to Dean's wife as well, Sonia. That's Sonia, the Trini. Yeah? But it seems like you all absolutely love Trinidad and Tobago, so it's good to have you here anyway. Yes. So this evening, conversation, I can't remember, was it? I think you brought it up in our off mic.
My cousin, yes, my cousin Kim, who is in Canada, who watches us, and so hi to Kim and my family. Kim asked about arthritis, and so I said, you know, let's try and address it. It's a huge topic, so
and it is a huge topic, and I always think all of us always say, you know, God, I have arthritis. I think we all call it on ourselves, no matter the age.
Arthritis, yeah.
So I'm going to get straight to it. What really is arthritis? Is it just achy joints only, or is it something much larger than that?
Well, arthritis means inflammation of a joint. And arthritis, there are many forms of arthritis. Right. But the most common arthritis that we all speak about when we say, oh gosh, I'm getting old, is osteoarthritis. But there are many different types of arthritis. So we have osteoarthritis, we have rheumatoid arthritis, we have gouty arthritis, we have septic arthritis, autoimmune arthritis, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile osteoarthritis.
Okay, you can stop.
So the list goes on.
Wow.
So tonight I thought, we'll just delve into the most common, which is osteoarthritis. And so your questions were excellent. And just talk about the achy joints, what can happen, and what do we do to move on. And then if we need to delve in later, we can in another
ones. So there are many types of arthritis. That was just really new for me. I know you're getting a call. Come back whenever you can. So I know, there you go. Yeah, it's your doctor. It's expected. Yeah,
it's my daughter. Delete that.
So it is all about achy joints, inflammation, or as Trini said, I don't know if you Guyanese used to say it. You say, oh God, that inflammation. You know, it's inflammation. This time it's inflammation. Yeah,
inflammation. So it's a big inflammatory disease of the joint.
Basically. So what exactly? First, let's go to what. Since it's inflammation, what is contributing towards the inflammation?
So as we get older, we have degeneration. Right. And at different parts of the body, we have degeneration of the joints. So the joints themselves, for example, in the spine, you can get, so I have, so for example, this is a model of a spine. So these clear parts, I think you can see them, are the discs. And so when these discs degenerate, then the bones come onto each other, and therefore they can grind on each other, and therefore cause an inflammatory response. And therefore there's arthritic joints or arthritic formations, because you then get possible bone hypertrophy or bone spurs, which then hurt the nerves, and then you get neck pain, for example. You know, so with your knees and your hands and your fingers, what happens, I don't have models, but this is where the cartilage is worn away in the joint. And when the cartilage is then you feel like if it's a squeaky door when you stretch your knee out, in and out, and you hear that
makes
noise.
Some noise.
Yeah, so what happens is, as we age and with obesity, and high impact, jobs or training, you will damage the joint if you're not careful. So that's why it's important the type of shoe you wear, how you do your exercises, and all of that can contribute to damage of the cartilage or the cushioning of that joint. And then when the bone starts to hit the bone, then you get the inflammation, and that is where the arthritis comes in. And with arthritis, go ahead.
That clear area you showed on the spine display, that's not the cartilage. What do you call that white area? If you can bring it back for us.
Yeah. So this is the spine
area, right?
Right. So that is the disc. So when people say I got a slip disc, or I got a degenerative disc disease, it's when this moves, either it moves backwards, or if it degenerates, it gets hard and loses the spacing between the joints because it desiccates or dries out.
Right.
And therefore the bones hit on one another. They move on one another.
So do we have
different types of arthritis?
So in let's for instance in the knee, and I'm bringing it home with me because I do have that creaking that happens. So is it whatever the cartilage is literally going or disappearing, you're saying? Or
let me show you. Let me see if I can share a screen. So I'm gonna see if I can pull up an image for you.
Technology.
Yes, I'm getting all technological. Hold on.
Let's hope she gets it and not cuts the call.
I don't appreciate these. Okay, let's see here.
This is Dr. Asante Leblanc. This is the live checkup. We of course you can put your questions. Don't think you can't. You're back.
Let me share. You need to let me share the content. Yeah.
Where is it?
You need to let me share the content.
I need to permit you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Technology, guys. Yes. Yes. Hold on, I am moving like you a little bit. No.
Yeah. So I'm seeing your screen. So you
don't need to see my screen. You need to see. No, hi guys, technology. There you go.
Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen. All right. So I am going
this
to
is the live checkup. I'm JD, Dr. Asante Leblanc. We're speaking about arthritis. As you multitask, I'm just.
Oh gosh, yes. So let me put that into photos.
Hope you guys are good though, and we still thank you for always looking on. This is just another great opportunity for us to just share information and have that sort of discourse as well. So you're always invited to tap in and share your comments or questions.
I need to really share this to Zoom, and I need to see how to share it to Zoom.
I don't even know.
Screen. Mirror, Microsoft, Zoom, start broadcast. Let's see how this goes. Are you seeing anything?
Yes, we are seeing your screen now.
Okay, great. So let me go now so you can see my screen. So there you go. Are you seeing that?
Yes, we are.
So you're seeing on the, I think it'll be on my right where you're seeing no debris. You're seeing a nice, lovely, healthy knee.
Yes.
Right. And then on the left, you're seeing all that debris. So the breakdown of cartilage.
Yes.
So that is what it is. And then we can go at this picture here as well. On the left this time is the healthy knee with the cartilage. And on the right is where the cartilage begins to break down and the bone gets exposed. You understand? So then it rubs on one another.
So this again, it may be very much related to arthritis, but here's my question for that. Is there any way we can, because you hear persons about injecting your knee with fluid, is there any way we can rebuild the cartilage or replace the cartilage?
That's a beautiful question. So I'm just so thrilled I was able to do that. Sorry. So cartilage is a tissue that has a basement membrane, and as long as that basement membrane is intact, it can regenerate the cartilage, the chondrocytes. But if that base membrane is affected, it can't regenerate. So what happens is sometimes we don't recognize when the degeneration is happening and we wait too late. And so the basement membrane is affected. So that's why joint health is important in terms of being proactive before you hear the creak and before you feel that you see swelling or you feel that stiffness in the morning or later on in the evening, or you see your leg bowing. So that's when it's important.
So if I'm hearing the creak, then I'm kind of late. I gotta.
You're not late. I mean, I can't tell you you're late, but I'm just saying that you should probably be more proactive and yes, you should visit the doctor.
I will be coming in. So, earlier on you said something about age, and because when you hear arthritis, you think elderly, someone older. But does that stand true to form, or is it not a respect of any age?
Well, it is with age, most of it, because it's degeneration over time,
right?
And depending on your activity. We do have juvenile arthritis, and that is an
Right.
autoimmune disease, but osteoarthritis usually is with age. So it's about the 50s and 60s when you start to feel the signs. But it depends on your family history, depends on what you were doing. I mean, if you were a huge runner, sprinter for years, if you were a wrestler, if those kinds of things, you were putting excess force on the joints, and therefore that can happen. So it really is as you go along, but it depends on your activity.
What are some of these symptoms if you're speaking about osteoarthritis? What are some of the symptoms that we should be looking for?
So pain, stiffness in the morning. It will then ease a little bit as you get up and start to move. And then you may feel the pain later on as you use the joint. Swelling of the joint. You may, at some point, especially in the hands, you may begin to see the fingers bending, or the legs becoming bowed, like, the bow foot. And then you may also see nodes on the finger, right about here. Yeah, right. You feel the nodes on the joint. So those are the signs and symptoms of osteoarthritis.
So what part does exercise play when dealing with that osteoporosis? How important? Because I know you're going to jump on that.
You know that exercise is important, and yes. I think it's important because, for example, I think the public, our listeners, our viewers will learn a lot about me over time. But I have 2 bad knees and a bad back, so but I am living proof that you can do rehabilitation and still exercise, do hill sprints, do hill work. But you have to do it within a context, and you have to understand the impact on your body within that context. And so exercise is very important, but understanding your limitations, and also how exercise can damage you. So you don't just do exercise because it's named exercise. You have to see what is right for you. So for example, I will do high intensity interval training, but I won't do it every day. I will do some running, but I won't do it every day. Nice. I look at my shoes. I look at the impact control and the impact of resistance of my shoes. I look at the compression of my tights, different things to aid my body in moving. And that's with body mechanics and understanding how your body moves to allow you. So knowing your posture, how to protect your posture when you're doing certain exercises, yoga, stretching, ensuring that proper mobility. And stretching is so important, JD, because if you don't stretch, then your body doesn't function as it's supposed to, and that itself can cause damage. So it's important to understand. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you finish. It's important.
So it's really important to understand that.
I think many of us, including myself, really take for granted the stretching part of exercising, whether it's pre or even post. So it's one of those things that certainly I'm working on. And as always, you've got your what do you call it? Mirror ball, glass ball. What do you call it?
Yes, your future ball, your glass ball. Yes, your crystal ball.
You've got a crystal ball, because I was going to ask you about some of the precautions that we need to take for exercises, but obviously you would have mentioned that those things, like for shoes, make sure you've got the right shoes, make sure you've got the right equipment prior, and of course try to zone out, as you're saying. If you're running today, don't run tomorrow. Maybe a day, 2 days down the road.
And I, JD, I'm not an exercise physician, right. But I read a lot when it comes to how to change and to exercise. And, things have changed over the years. What we used to do for aerobics years ago, what Jane Fonda used to do,
it's so true.
Versus what is done now. I mean, all those things, the myths and the facts and the fiction. Mm-hmm. You remember T25, get your body in this. And it was, so things change. And so it's important, because I was reading, and I don't get paid. Disclaimer, I get paid by no one who I mention here.
Yeah.
But I use an app, MyFitnessPal, which is Under Armour, and they give you little, blurbs. And I was reading the other day about stretching. So they were saying, before stretching, before we used to do a cold stretch, a static stretch. And then when my trainer, about 2 years ago, said to me, you have to do dynamic stretching before you start exercising and then static stretching after. I was like, what nonsense is he talking? And then there it is, like you have to dynamic stretch. And it's like, oh, okay. So now I understand, because the reality was if your muscles are cold and not heated up, then it's best to dynamic. So you're trying to bring circulation as you prepare them for the action. And then after you've done your exercise, you can do your static stretch because they're ready, they're warm, they're supple, to put it in that tense. And so that is so important,
So there's a pre-stretch for your stretch.
And a post-stretch, yes. So you need to read up on it, because I'm not an exercise physiologist.
So what can I do though, Dr. Asante Leblanc? Hey guys, this is the live checkup, but what can I do to prevent arthritis?
I think it's important, first of all, as I always tell you, JD, to be proactive and to understand and know your body from an early stage in your adult life. And this is why we do this, right? Living healthy as possible. Moderation, because everybody knows I say life is short. So chocolate cake and a little alcohol, I will drink some and eat some, but not every day, and it's all in moderation. Understanding that eating as balanced as possible, eating your natural seasonal fruits and veggies from the earth, understanding that using whole grains, understanding your body, proper sleep, stress coping, exercising, all of this wellness, the wellness package is your mainstay for most of these diseases. And then you have to look at your genetics, prepare yourself. So I come from a family, yes, with osteoarthritis and knee problems. So I know what's ahead. So that's why I'm this proactive. Understanding your genetics, understanding, JD, so this is where ginger comes in and other herbs, which we'll mention later. But I use those on and off as my natural anti-inflammatories. Making sure I listen to my joints. So for example, you know how old people used to say, then they could tell you whether from their knees.
Oh my goodness, you are reading my mind. I kid you not. I kid you not.
I can tell you the weather from my knees. Because
I was literally waiting for you to finish.
I have had 3 knee operations, so I can tell you weather from my knees. But it's a strange feeling, but you listen to your body, understand it, and work within that. Work within that context, and it's so important. I know.
Do you just want to have it? Yeah. Do you just want to take it and just use it? No, because when you were speaking, I thought about my grandmother, and she's 86, as you know.
Oh God, really?
She did say, but she always goes back to this. She was a domestic many years ago, of course, when she was younger. So she would iron a lot, right? And she said,
then go in the fridge.
Yes, and do different things. So she would always say, my body hurted me because I used to iron plenty, So I'm like, Granny, but then again, I don't know, they are. So she would say the same thing. Oh, rain coming. I was feeling it in my leg today, So I was going to ask you how real that is. But if you can detect the weather as well, then I guess you apply the same method.
But I have screws in one knee, so that's why. So I can detect. But I share this information, JD, with everyone because I think I want it to be understood that you can really and truly heal your body, and it may not be totally healed, but you can get into that you can get back to that point where you feel good. You know what I mean? So like I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, do I really want to exercise? And then, by this afternoon, it's like, I really need to exercise. Yeah, this, that. So it's about the mental and the physical coming together and understanding that you can heal. Because long ago, you talked to me about exercise. I'm like, oh no, my back hurting. It's raining, the knee hurting. But you can do yoga. You work with it, Tai Chi, Qigong to strengthen those ligaments, and those with knee and back problems, there's always a modifiable exercise for you in the gym. Yeah. So those gym work instructors always say, if you have a bad knee, do this. If you have a bad back, do that. Mm-hmm. So understand it. Don't go and do all kind of gymnastics if you have problems. That's why they have a disclaimer, Yeah. So it's important. And I'm very, my orthopedic surgeon who's in Jamaica, he laughs at me all the time because I call him and tell him I'm running a hill. He goes, you're not supposed to be running the hill. And I go, I know. It's just a little bit. You know, so but because you feel so good doing this when you couldn't do it before, and the endorphins, and it's almost like a drug. It's a natural high. I've never used drugs. I'm afraid of the police and what it might do to my body. But I'm much too pretty for jail. And so, but you know, what I'm trying to say is, when I speak to my surgeon, I tell him, I know when to back off, and I will. You know what I mean? So it's listening to your body, JD, and that's amazing. I like when you do strengthening exercises, because doing strengthening and core and back strengthening and joint strengthening, when you feel that strength in your body, JD, and the fact that you can do certain exercises, you understand the stability that you're gaining when you go into dynamic exercises.
And, you know, as you get older, it's just really harder to do the exercising. So hearing all that core development is like, wow, I wish I had that, but I know it's going to be difficult now to achieve it.
But, you know, this is where you find somebody. No, I would wake you up when I'm exercising, but you would not appreciate it, right? So, you know, like I call my sister, and she's not going to be watching us tonight, I know. But I call my sister some mornings, and she's like, why are you so chipper? I don't know. But you know, I sometimes wish I could. But if I call my aunt now, who's an exercise freak, she'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." But she's not awake that early either. But I love it. So I have a friend who I'm not going to say her name, but I can call her and say, "Let's go do this." And she and I have so much bad mind that we challenge each other with our selectively plump selves.
So yeah, because every afternoon I try to do walking, with my friend.
Have you stopped? Oh, the weather.
The weather. So, you know, sometimes you look at the weather and you're like, I'm not going to do it today. But I try to really stick with it and certainly continue that, because, again, I have the knee issues that you speak of. I hear my knees making that noise. So I do practice what you're saying, and I'm trying to stick with it. And I know after 8 right now, you know, you're usually in your bed. But this morning, Asante is waking me up at some crazy hour asking me some question. I'm like, no, I'm sleeping. I'll talk to you later, because I know you're a morning person versus me not being a morning person.
But you know, I'm doing better in the nights. I'm staying up a little later. My husband laughs, but I'm watching crime shows. So he's sleeping and I'm watching crime shows. So I'm doing better, but I don't think that the night is made for me. I should be more productive and work, but I can only stay up in the night for recreational purposes.
Not to work.
Not to work. I think
prefer to work at night, actually. So just a few minutes ago, Asante, you spoke about you know, the healthy things we should be eating in terms of, you know, whether ginger applies to this case or not. So let's make that transition into some of the foods that will help ease arthritis, and then we can possibly speak about the other side of it in terms of the medicinal side of it. So you can make that transition as well.
Right. So in terms of foods, so a lot of like even the Chinese medicine tells you that acidic foods and high preserved and sugary foods. So, you know, that goes in line with the whole inflammatory diet, right? And so those are the foods you want to avoid. So you have to look and feel how your body is, because, for example, for me, I really do not discern a change if I have a lot of grapefruit or not. But some people do.
Yes.
You understand? So,
but
I don't. I have no clue whether it does or doesn't. I enjoy my grapefruit, but maybe because I put cinnamon and honey on my grapefruit.
Maybe. That might be true, though.
You understand? So, you know, very sugary, preserved foods and acidic foods are the foods that are targeted to stimulate the so-called, you know, exacerbate, I should say, the inflammation of the joints.
So stay away from those sort of foods. But are there foods that we...
Or limit. I would say limit them.
Sorry,
and
limit.
See how you feel with your body. See how it feels.
So
I'm not a totalitarian when it comes to that. I say listen to your body, because I like food. So I don't want to hear I can't
we won't even tell them what you just asked me to bring for you next week. We won't tell them about that, would we? No.
I'm a kid at heart, and I like my nostalgic snacks of childhood, and I love tulum. So I'm proud.
My mother makes amazing tulum.
Amazing. And that molasses is good for you.
Yes, I heard that too.
That sugar might not be good, but that
For the molasses. All right,
and
so
it's coconut, right? So
it's coconut, yeah.
yeah.
You're winning the debate there, right?
Yeah. 2 for 1, 2 for 1.
You talked about the foods to stay away from. What about, let's talk about the medicinal side now. You know, of course,
So
like you say, you're a holistic doctor, right?
Ginger has to come in. I
it
mean,
does.
ginger is important, and saffron is important, which it's not saffron, it's turmeric, but Trinidadians call it saffron. So it's the orange root.
Yes.
I have tons growing. I'm so happy. I replanted during COVID lockdown, and they're all sprouting up thanks to Corpus Christi rains. So just my sidetrack. Ginger, turmeric, prickly ash. Google is an Ayurvedic resin. It's used for Indian prayers. Using yucca is also good for that. Also red dangwe, black cohosh, blue cohosh.
Are those things available here?
In my office.
Okay. No, because I asked because I know sometimes some things are called differently.
They're available at some herbalists. So the yucca, black cohosh, blue cohosh, dangwe, and Google are not intrinsic or endemic to us in the Caribbean.
But so we can get it by you.
Right. But for us in the Caribbean, it will be ginger, turmeric. We can also use, there's a patch called cowfoot bush in Guyana. I have a picture of it somewhere, but that's one. Nettle, stinging nettle is good.
Yes, stinging nettle as well. Yes.
So we have our so-called arthritic herbs here. And of course, when you rub the mentholated spirits or the limacol, but you can make different, sap the knee, but you could sap the knee with different things, which now include CBD, blood moving herbs. So we can make some of those with our herbs here or use other herbs that are not from here.
Well, it doesn't even make sense to ask you the next question because the next question was about home remedies and you just did it again. So
it all flows.
It does flow. So you just told us about some of the home remedies. So I know we were just talking about osteoarthritis, but just can you share a little bit about rheumatoid arthritis? Because rheumatoid arthritis, because I know of a couple of friends that have this and you always hear them in serious pain. And it sounds to be a little bit worse than the regular osteoarthritis.
Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease.
Right.
And therefore it actually attacks your joints. And so this is where you do have to consider steroids to tamper down your immune system and other, we call them immunomodulator agents. So methotrexate, and there are other new ones that are out as well. But also you can integrate, so you can have the herbs along with the medication.
Both of them.
But rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune, and it deforms the joints a lot quicker and worse actually. And it's really, because it's autoimmune, I guess stress coping is very important where rheumatoid is concerned, and then understanding your rheumatoid, understanding the levels of autoimmune activity. So it's not a pretty picture, to be very honest. It's a difficult disease to deal with, but it can be dealt with.
All right, so those are my questions pertaining to arthritis, but I don't know if I may have not touched on something.
The only thing in terms of medication for osteoarthritis,
right, so which I was leading before,
we can use the NSAIDs, which are the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, and so this includes your Olfen, your ibuprofen, your Panadol kind of family, your Celebrex, your Apoxia, those can be used. And then steroids are sometimes necessary if it's very, very inflamed and painful. Sometimes orthopedic surgeons can go into the joint and inject steroids just to calm down the inflammation in the joint, because sometimes you get so much stiffness that you can't even exercise to help the joint.
Yeah.
Acupuncture and cupping help with arthritic joints, especially the bigger joints, but also the smaller joints. It can bring down the inflammation a lot and help for mobility. Heat as well, using heat, doing a ginger compress, doing hot ginger soaks are very good. Turmeric compresses. using the what you call it now, when you Tai Chi and Qigong, which are very slow moving exercises to stimulate the joints early in the morning, is very important. Yoga and your regular exercises that you can do.
So you know what I'm hearing you saying, Dr. Leblanc, is that obviously you can't be taking the meds and trying to sort it out on that end and still be eating the food that will contribute.
No, it has to be. That's why everything has to come together holistically.
But you know,
we always boil down to that.
You know, some, I'm going to say Trinis, but you know, some human beings, we still want to just keep taking the tab. I think about even high blood pressure. We want to take the tablets. I'll bring it down, but still eat the incorrect things that don't. So you kind of have a tug of war with the fight to be healthy. So obviously we have to eat differently and also take those meds. So that was a very interesting conversation on arthritis.
I hope it helped my cousin Kim.
And all those
sure
who
he
need
will
it.
find me and everybody else. But yeah, so osteoarthritis, I mean, it really is degeneration of the joints. I think closing, I would like to say, don't be afraid of it. Be proactive, exercise, look at how you move, be very careful with the exercises you do, understand the impact, get your proper shoes, invest in that now, don't pay the price later. So you know how prevention is better than cure. And a pound of prevention versus an ounce of cure. I could go on and on and on.
Yes.
But in case you don't want to be the weather woman by your knees, let us try and be proactive. And you know, even if you have arthritis, I think it's important for those who have arthritis to understand you don't have to give up. You can slowly reintegrate, and doing a holistic approach, you may get much less pain and much more mobility, and you'll be able to move on.
Before we wrap this up, and I know you're going to get ready to go to bed, a question, going back, can we track back a little bit? Again, with the knees, and this is my personal question, because obviously I have those issues with my knees. I have to modify with gyms, and I can't do spin and those sort of things. Yeah, climbing a hill is a pain because you hear. But I remember years ago someone saying to me, so this question may apply to many, where there is some sort of, what is this injection that they talk about, injecting fluid into the knees? Can you explain what that is, and if it is at all necessary? Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's the Symvisc. So Symvisc injections, you can do multiple injections. Again, the orthopedic surgeons are the best ones to do it, or the sports physicians, because it's an ultrasound guided. So that is trying to help with your synovial fluid in your joint. So the picture of the knee, you have to picture that encapsulated, and there's the fluid there, synovial fluid. So this is about helping that synovial fluid, which helps with the cushioning of the joint. So it helps to ease the degeneration of the joint. It's not 100% effective, but it's an option and an alternative.
Is it like a temporary relief then?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's permanent, depending on the stage, depending on the person, depending on the body. You know, it really varies. I can't say it's 100%. Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, thank you for your answers to my questions, which I think you see somehow from over there to here. But thank you very much. And also thank you to those of you that are looking on. Before we go, Dr. Asante Leblanc is getting so hot on technology. You can see her all over the place when it comes to her pages. So as always, give us the info to connect us to, whether it's your Facebook, your Instagram page, please.
Yes. So we have Facebook, Victoria Clinic on Facebook. We have Instagram, it's Victoria Clinic _Trinidad. And we have our website. So our website, it's important that you go I don't think JD has done it yet. So it's www.victoria-clinic.net. And why is this important? Because you did not increase my subscriber number. So you go to the bottom of the page and subscribe to the newsletter, because you will slowly be getting more and more information every so often on different herbs, different conditions, things we're doing, what's happening, but mostly things about your health and helping you with some health tips.
What's
so it's really www.victoria-clinic.net.
Okay, I'll get it and do it in just a bit. I'm seeing some other things here.
I'll do it. So the website is a beta version. So we're testing it out. Our phone numbers are 622-2221, 622-0683. And our WhatsApp number is 741-7515.
Nice. So we have the numbers, we have your pages, and how we can communicate with
Oh,
you.
we're located at 54 Gallus Street, Woodbrook.
Most importantly, your location.
COVID has us thinking so virtual.
I know,
you
it's
forget
crazy.
to put your physical address.
And we can't wrap up without you saying anything pertaining to COVID right now, because you just hinted on it there. Talk to us again on some of the reminders of the practices we need to do. I know, right?
Stay safe. Wash your hands with soap and water, 20 to 30 seconds if you can. Use your sanitizers if you don't have the soap and water. Remember to sneeze and cough into the crook of your elbow. Use your masks when you're going outside. Don't forget that when you take off the mask, note how you take it off properly and reapply again to put it back on. Please remember your physical distancing from people who are not your relatives that you're living with. So at least 3 feet apart, if not more.
3 to 6,
Just remembering that, we're in some trying times in the Caribbean. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot in our parallel healthcare system. So we have to just watch it over the next 2 weeks. So I really beg you to stay safe.
Yeah.
We have herbs again that are available for early viral infection and stuff like that. But really and truly, prevention is better than cure. But if you get sick, don't despair. Give your doctor a call. Remember that if you have a flu or cold symptom, call your doctor, speak to them. They will tell you whether to come in or go to get tested. Don't be afraid of getting tested. And let's try and beat this together.
Yeah, we got a long.
And thank you, JD, for everything that you do.
Problem.
Because I know that you and I are both under some pressure some days, so I appreciate it.
Yes, pressure is real. Yes. Well, thank you very much, though, for joining me as always. And next week we'll have a very informative conversation as always. Yeah. If you do have ideas like how Asante's cousin had an idea about arthritis, just connect with us and let us know, Jay, you guys need to talk about this or that, and we'll certainly jump on that for you. So thank you so much. Check out my website, www.jdmedia868.com. And of course, this is on YouTube, so you can certainly click like and subscribe and share, because we can't be stingy, guys, with the information Dr. Asante Leblanc is giving us. So thank you so much, Dr. Leblanc.
Bye. Good night.
Have a good night. It's late. Come on.